Hi, my name is Rachel Wolf. I wanted to just introduce myself before I jump into my internship. So, a little bit about me. I went to Towson University for my undergraduate. I graduated in 2012 with elementary and special education degree. I'm currently finishing my master's program at Loyola. I plan to graduate in 2018 with a master's in digital technology and leadership. Currently, I'm a first grade teacher at Dogwood Elementary, but next year I go back to special education resource teacher. I decided to pursue digital technology and leadership because our students are 21st century learners. Our students are growing up in a world of technology, and it is our job to make them college and career ready. It is teachers' jobs to make sure that all of our students are innovative learners. So, to jump into my proposal, my goals are for special area teachers at Dogwood Elementary to become comfortable with technology tools and utilize it in a meaningful way to promote creativity, engagement, collaboration, and increase student interaction. My objectives were to develop, implement, and facilitate a technology group for special area teachers. There was about 7 of them that serves the technological needs of Dogwood Elementary, to expose special area staff to a variety of technology resources and Web 2.0 tools that will enhance 21st century learning at Dogwood Elementary, for students to use Web 2.0 tools and technology resources to promote college and career readiness. So those were my objectives. And then moving into the strategies, to conduct a survey to determine the technology needs of the special area staff, asking for feedback from Dogwood staff to better our professional developments for technology, create meetings for special area staff based on surveys and feedback, developing a bank of Web 2.0 tools for staff to use in the classroom with their students, facilitate monthly meetings to further the staff's knowledge of Web 2.0 tools, for students to become 21st century learners, provide training on Web 2.0 tools such as quizzes, Nearpod, Kahoot, Padlet, and will provide a synchronous session or webinar, identify practices of technology integration, and provide training on BCPS1 and to deepen our knowledge. Moving into my actual internship. So again, I restated everything that I just explained. Again, here is a copy of my proposal letter from my principal who signed off approving of this internship at Dogwood Elementary. Here is just some documentation of the time that I had met with the staff and also the times that I was able to sort of organize my data and create my agendas. Moving into September, that's when I created my needs survey and I was able to analyze the data. So if you click actually on here, this takes you right into the needs survey. This is where I just sort of was able to get an understanding of exactly what the special area staff wanted, what kind of tools they wanted to learn about, what days of the week worked for them, what do they want to learn about in regards to technology, and how they prefer their communication and check-ins. I was able to collect that data. I do have an image brought up, but here I was able just sort of to figure out, okay, how am I going to best work with the special area staff? What are they interested in? And how can I help meet their needs throughout the year? So in October, we had an introduction to the internship and what the special area staff was going to work on with me and how we were going to work together and collaborate. And again, talking about the SAMR model. So if you notice here, I wrote agendas for each month that we met. I'm actually going to make this a little bit bigger. So I explained the internship goals, the internship objectives, the expectations, how we're meeting 30 minutes monthly, how January and March will be our assigned check-in months. Of course, they're always available to talk to me anytime that they need, and explaining that after each meeting there will be a little exit ticket, just a simple task to show that they've understood learning. Jumping into SAMR, explaining what that was, the 4 components of that framework. And then I also was able to give examples of a typical or original assignment that you would typically see in a special areas classroom, and then how you're able to sort of use the framework to make it a little bit more digital using the substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. So I was able to do that for art class, physical education, and then we did just a mini assignment just to gather data just to see what they've learned. And here I was able to put a screenshot of the learning that was gathered and how they're going to incorporate the model into their classroom. And at the bottom, I just put little reflection notes just for myself and for people to see what went well and if there was something I needed to maybe improve later on. So teachers were interested but had a hard time understanding how to apply the SAMR model. The staff did ask appropriate questions to help them apply their new learning, but in the future I would have incorporated a lesson from their curriculum instead of me just assuming that's something that they would do in the classroom to make it more meaningful. In November, we talked about TPAC. The session was online. Of course, they still had their agenda, which you can easily download. I gave them the link to meet us at Zoom. We talked about what TPAC was, and we got to explore just using even Pinterest, which is another learning management system. And then, of course, they had a mini assessment, which we used on Padlet, which here were some examples of what they learned from. They had to tell me 3 components to TPAC and how it helps them learn. So here's just an image. I didn't get with the free Zoom, you couldn't record the session, but I was able to grab a screenshot of our actual Zoom session. For this one, learning about TPAC was exciting. I think almost all the members who attended really enjoyed the online component. I love seeing the staff trying something new. They were fully engaged and continued to ask great questions. In the future, I would have incorporated the breakout rooms to make it more meaningful and engaging. In December, we talked about BCPS1 and our Web 2.0 tools. So, in Baltimore County, our learning management system is BCPS1. So we dove right into the main components for the special area staff. So again, we just sort of explored in our digital content box, which for our students and for our staff, you have free access to Tumble Books, BrainPop, Safari, all these different tools that teachers can access as well as students. And then we dove into talking about what is Web 2.0 tools, and then I shared some examples with them, and they were able to click on the link or click on the words, and it took them right to the tool. And the teachers loved having that quick access to the Web 2.0 tools. Their assessment was to tweet about reasons why we need Web 2.0 tools and the importance of having them in the classroom. Many of our staff, especially our special areas staff, does not have Twitter. So they ended up emailing me or telling me their responses, and I put it on Twitter for them. It was just a fun, different way to show them the benefits and the components of Twitter and how much it's used, especially in the school system now. Learning about BCPS1 was very meaningful and purposeful to the staff. That was the first thing that they had asked me to share with them. They got to explore and learn about the different programs and components in our learning management system. And teachers were not aware of the different components offered. So it was nice to see them eager and always engaged. And especially when we talked about the different Web 2.0 tools, they were motivated and excited to implement the new technology in the classroom. The staff liked the electronic list because there was something that they can pull up on their own time later. Moving into January, where we talked about Nearpod and Google Forms. So again, I have my January agenda. So we talked about what is Nearpod, and we pulled up just a quick brief video, talked about the components, and then they had a few different activities that they could choose from. Jordan talk about why they think Nearpod would be beneficial in the classroom. And then this is a picto chart that I was that I had created. There's a few Web 2.0 tools on there, but one of them was Nearpod. So just sort of to see the benefits. There was, how there are little tutorials, how to make a presentation, why to use it, and then there were just some pictures of students using Nearpod. Going back to my agenda, then we also talked about Google Forms, and on their own time, they were able to peruse how to create their own Google form. And we had time to, they had the opportunity to create a Nearpod for a lesson that they will be teaching in their classroom. And if they didn't get to finish that, I was able to meet with them on their anytime that they were willing. And then our assessment was just to use Google Forms to complete a survey. So moving into that survey, again, you're just able to click on the data responses, pull it up, sharing that they're able to flip a classroom for Nearpod. They can use it in their reading block, stations. It's engaging, collects data, measures data. It can be used as an exit ticket to analyze data, gather data on a specific skill, allows for collaboration. It's simple, it's easy, and it's shareable for Google Form. Moving forward, here's some visuals of their answers as well, and reflections that they were excited to create their own Nearpod for one of their own personal lessons. They were actively engaged and interested. They enjoyed working on something purposeful, and during the session, the staff were participating actively creating a Nearpod. Most of the staff's interest was in Nearpod over the Google form. Baltimore County is not big with Google, so that is something that I definitely need to reconsider and taking into account for future sessions, since often Baltimore County is not a Google county. And then also in January, I did our check-ins. So again, they just had a little survey to complete just to see where they were, what tools have they tried, which ones they still haven't tried yet, how I can continue to support them, and if they just want me to check in and have any questions for them. I noticed that most of them have used BCPS1 and one had tried quizzes, but at least there's still interest in other technology tools. Reflection, it's evident that most teachers have used BCPS1 in their classroom. There's still interest in trying other Tech 2.0 tools, but teachers have not done it yet at this point. I think the teachers are interested, but it's evident that there's no support and no time, and teachers are not as eager to apply it in their classroom because they're so busy. Also, attendance has been declining, not just within these meetings, but as a school across the board. Many people have been out of the building taking, whether it's personal time or sick time. And when I talked to the staff in person, there was definitely interest, but I see what is being applied, there is very little. Moving into February, we talked about quizzes and Kahoot. And again, I had the agenda. We talked about what quizzes was. And again, I used that picture chart that I created that had Nearpod and quizzes and Kahoot. They had an opportunity to do some activities and collaboration with teams. And then they had time to create their own quizzes or Kahoot. Again, our assessment was with quizzes, so they were able to actually apply what was being learned. I just put a little screenshot, but here is the data that was gathered from that. And as you can tell, the attendance has started to decline at this point. Only 2 people, you see player level, 2 people attended. But learning had occurred, and I was able to meet with these people separately, one-on-one. And in this meeting, staff got to create their own quizzes or Kahoot. They had a choice. They actively collaborated with their partner and to discuss the benefits of each and even which one was better for them. They were excited to have options and to create a quiz for one of their own future lessons. I used the data from January check-in to help plan this session, and they liked being able to create lessons because it was more meaningful and purposeful to them.